Byron Cooke. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Salam alaikum to you, Jay, from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I've been here now a little over a year, and it's lovely to talk to you, my friend.
Yes, and I told everybody about your background before you hopped on with us. So happy for you for your success. I didn't tell everybody how we started, how we met, and it was originally a couple years ago when the Bucks played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and I hopped
Yeah.
on the air with you guys in Australia down under to explain pretty much the Super Bowl. And it was just and we were almost on air for we almost did an interview for like an hour. That was a lot of fun, man. It really was. I still think about that very fondly.
Oh, well, thank you, Jay. And it's the radio and podcast family, isn't it, all over the world? And hopefully we all are there for each other on each other's shows. And that continues tonight with you. That was interesting because you had a pretty good product to sell. I remember the purpose of that show was to sell the Super Bowl to an Australian who maybe only knew about the halftime show, if
Right.
that. And it was kind of like your job, along one of our friends in Kansas City, I believe,
JJ,
because
yep.
the Chiefs were playing, to sell it into Australia. And you did a great job. As I say, you had a pretty good product to sell. You did very well, and maybe you helped boost the ratings in Australia for the Super Bowl that year, Jay.
Yeah, buddy. And you know what? The ratings on your show probably went up, and then boom, you get this opportunity. Tell everybody what that thought. I'll take all the credit for you going there. What was
You
that
should,
thought
you
process?
should.
What was that thought process like for you, right? You're getting this opportunity. They're doing something new in the kingdom there. You're going to get your name on this show. You're going to be the first English speaking morning show right there in Saudi Arabia. Like, I mean, what goes into that thought process? It's got to be tough to leave, friends and family there. But I mean, my goodness, what an opportunity to be presented.
Yeah, Jay, there's this thing, and I urge your community to look it up. It's called Vision 2030, and it is truly a vision for where this country is going, and it's very real. It's not just pictures on the internet. I see it every day. I drive past the progress every day. I see it right in front of me. This country has a vision, and we're driving towards 2030. And of course, in the sports context, 2034 for the FIFA World Cup. There are a lot of things in the not too distant future that have to be ready, and the country is quite literally under construction, and it's being done in a sustainable way, in a smart way, and with local people and international people that come in and lend their expertise in certain areas. And for us on NBC Loud, yeah, we represent a growing portion of the country that is curious when it comes to Western culture, if you will, pop culture, English language. So it's a growing sector here, and it's a thrill to be part of this, and it'll just keep growing. We find a lot of local Saudis are enjoying the program. They like the energy of what we do. It's a little different to some of the Arabic stations and the way they go about radio. So look, we're just driving something new and different. It's been done in other parts of this region. It's been done very successfully in the UAE, in Dubai, with a station like Virgin Radio, which is hugely successful. And other markets as well. But it's the first time we've done it here in the kingdom. So, yeah, the process really was looking at Vision 2030 and saying, hey, this is a chance to actually be part of something that's bigger than radio or bigger than pop music. This is a cultural movement. So it was a real no-brainer for me, to be honest, Jay. I was very excited, and my family are all over the world. And so whilst, yes, I'm leading some family in Australia, my family in Europe by living here. When you live in Australia, Jay, Saudi Arabia feels close to a lot of places because Australia is so far away from basically everything.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. And your son he moved now? He's in Paris now? I've been following along. Is he, because he used to live in New Orleans the last time I talked to him. Where's he at now?
Well, my son is a sports nut who
he is.
Careful, he'll come for your job, Jay. He loves his sports. He's 17 now, mind you.
Wow.
Grew up in Los Angeles, so he's got a bit of a West Coast bias with his American sports teams, but he went traveling around the world with his mother, my ex-wife, and he was backpacking for 4 years, Jay, and he worked off of a laptop. He did a program, an American program known as K-12, which is remote learning. And he's been to something like 150 cities backpacking with his mum. And I would join them whenever I could for different adventures around the world. And when it got to COVID, they were back there in the US. And he said to his mum, hey, when all this ends, can we just go and live in Paris, please? And she was wild enough to say, yeah,
Wow.
okay. And they found a way to do it. He loved Paris, and he's always been a fan of the PSG football team that have had so much success lately.
Yeah.
Um, so he found himself in Paris. He's been there for 2 years. He now speaks fluent French. So he's this American kid living in Paris with a dad that lives in Saudi Arabia. So he's all over the place, but he's a happy young man.
That's awesome. 17 years young. Please send him my best. That's so great to hear. I want to
Thanks,
ask you
Jay.
about the stigma of Saudi Arabia, because I have a good friend of mine, Titus O'Neil, who's in the WWE, and he's come on the show before, and he said, listen, all that stuff you hear, like, I feel very safe over there. Everything is very clean. What do you say to those people that have that apprehension, Byron, about Saudi Arabia, and they hear about all these terrible stories and how, they treat women and things like that? Because that's one of the things that I think holds people back from being full-fledged in support of everything that's going on. But I feel like there's a lot of sporting events, especially, that are trying to bridge that gap and trying to kind of turn over a leaf over there. What do you say to people when they bring up those concerns?
Oh, look, the Vision 2030, I keep coming back to it, Jay, and it is a very real thing. And this is not just about building things, this is social change. There's
Right.
been a lot of movement in the culture. I look around my building at MBC, which is a big media business, the biggest media business actually in all of the Middle East and North Africa. There would easily be as many women in my building as men,
Good.
many of them in executive positions, which is standard in media in Australia as well. I see change everywhere.
Good.
Look, yes, by all means, look at a history book and you'll see that, or maybe as recently as 2017, women didn't drive vehicles here in the kingdom. That was a shift about 7 or 8 years ago, along with so many other shifts.
Right.
And it feels like a lifetime ago, I think, for a lot of local women here. But we're seeing a modern, exciting nation just continuing to grow. As far as the safety message, that is just factually correct. I mean, this is the safest country I've ever been in.
Right.
We have no crime issues whatsoever. And a lot of that stems from the religious values of the people in
Mhm.
this part of the world, the ethics, the values. It's a peaceful place, and there are opportunities for everyone. And Jay, I moved here a year and 2 months ago. And so I see what I see, and
Mhm.
I see nothing but positivity. And anyone that's considering a sports trip to Saudi Arabia, you'll have a great time. I can only fit so many people in this apartment, Jay, so maybe book a hotel. But you'll have a great time. Honestly, we
Yeah.
we have world-class events here. The country is building and moving. So look, those concerns, I think, are concerns perhaps expressed from information that is either misinformation or perhaps from
Out-
another time.
Outdated, maybe. Yeah, outdated,
Yeah,
probably
and
information. Yeah.
and what we see is a country looking forward, acknowledging its history, though preserving a lot
Mhm.
of the cultural aspects that this country is built on. That doesn't change, but we're seeing the evolution, and the role of women in this country is massive. My co-host is a strong woman. We have women all over the building and in big positions all over Saudi Arabia. So
That's great.
by all means, come here and see it for yourself. I'm not just saying it; I see it every day, Jay.
That's beautiful, man. I love to hear that. And I'm wearing the jersey today. Cristiano Ronaldo, my guy, one of my favorite
There you
players in
go.
any sport of all time. He has been a huge, and I'm going to ask you this in a second, but he was one of those first guys that, and of course, he's on, you'd say the back end of his career, but he still looks like he's freaking carved out of freaking granite, that guy. But he made the decision to go to Saudi and not stay in one of the big five leagues in Europe. And now we've seen a lot of players go over there and to be able to make a good living. And you've seen it recently in the Club World Cup and seeing guys like Joao Cancelo and some of these players that, hey man, that guy was in the Premier League 2 or 3 years ago, and now they're playing there in Saudi Arabia, which I think is really, really cool for the sporting landscape. What kind of impact has Cristiano had there, not just on soccer, but culturally, because he's really went all in?
Yeah, look, I mean, what you have in the Saudi Pro League, don't get me wrong, is a league with tremendous history and tremendous pride. I mean, particularly if you go to a city like Jeddah, which is to the north of the capital where I am tonight, Riyadh, you have two very big clubs up there in Jeddah that draw enormous crowds and always have, Al Etihad and Al Ali, both huge teams. We see the same in Riyadh with Al Hilal, and to
Hmm.
some extent with Al Nassr. So there was always a great local history with the Saudi Pro League and local passion. But if you want to talk global
Hmm.
brand awareness, yes, Cristiano, an enormous game changer. Over the world, Jay, I'm lucky enough to travel a lot, and I see a lot of these yellow Al Nassr jerseys. And
Hmm.
look, I'm going to be honest, you know, as much as I've learned about the Saudi Pro League since I got here, I knew nothing about it until I saw those yellow Ronaldo jerseys. And
Right, right.
he has been tremendous for the awareness of the league. We see those number 7 yellow and blue jerseys. I've seen them as far away as Bali, Indonesia, the United States, in
Wow.
Europe, all over the place. He is a global brand. And, you know, you talk about his new deal that he just signed with Al Nassr for the final 2 years of his career. That even includes equity in this football club. It's a 15% stake in the football club. Now, you're a student of sports. I don't know how
Mhm.
many times a player has run onto the field as an owner of a team. Maybe Michael Jordan with the Wizards,
That's
maybe
it.
in the
Yeah,
NBA.
yeah, yeah.
So that's the sort of rare air that we're in with
Mhm.
Cristiano. But he has just turned the Saudi Pro League into an international brand. He made the call a couple of years ago, and everyone said he was crazy. He said, "Look, if you take PSG out of that French league, I think the Saudi Pro League's better, and I think it goes a little deeper." And everyone thought he was
Mhm.
mad. But you know, Al Hilal's performance in the Club World Cup, making the final 8, beating Manchester City, drawing with Real Madrid, I think it bodes well. And Al Hilal, in fairness, aren't even the best team in the Saudi Pro League this year. They qualified by virtue of the fact they won last year. But we have a team up in Al Ittihad led by Karim Benzema, the French international. They're actually the best team in the Saudi Pro League. Ronaldo's team's only the third best team. So there's a lot happening in the Saudi Pro League. We're seeing another team, Neom, come from the first division up to the top flight this year. And of course, Neom is a fascinating project that I urge you to look up. They have a team based up there in the north in a city called Tabuk. Um, there's a lot happening in the Pro League, but we wouldn't be talking about it internationally. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation
Mhm.
about the Saudi Pro League if it wasn't for Cristiano, because of course he's bigger than his own club. I mean, quite frankly, he is. I mean, a few athletes, I guess, transcend their organisations. Jordan does spring to mind,
Right.
and Ronaldo, of course, is one of those as well.
Listen to you, man. Forget about your son. You might be taking my job. Don't be coming over here in this sports background. You're crushed.
I
You
like
go.
Florida. I like it a lot,
I know.
actually.
I know. You stay over there in the kingdom, all right, buddy.
All
Uh,
right,
man, that
for
was
now, for
great.
now.
That was for now. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about the other events that are going on because you know me, I'm a big WWE guy, big boxing guy, big UFC guy.
Yeah.
What about the impact with those? I mean, it just seems like every single time there's an event, it's always top notch, top tier. Everybody always has a good time. Everybody's got smiles on their faces. And we were just talking about the progression and how things have changed. I remember the first event in Saudi for WWE, there wasn't any women on the card at all. And now we've gotten to the point where then it was one, two women, and now they're having full cards. The Royal Rumble is going to be there. I mean, it's just amazing the progress. And I think sports and sports entertainment has really helped the progression of the kingdom there. But from what you've seen, WWE boxing, WWE boxing, UFC, what kind of impact have you been able to notice in your time there?
Yeah, certainly combat sports is a thing when it comes to the kingdom. We've seen world-class boxing. I was there for Fury and Usyk, both of them. Both times Tyson Fury will tell you he won the fight. He didn't. He's about to. He's about. In fact, they've promoted the promoter's dream. The trilogy is coming up, but he's already lost 2. So I'm not sure how you can have a trilogy when you've lost the first 2. I was never good at math, Jay, but I don't know that it's a trilogy when you've lost the first 2. Anyway, side note. Boxing, huge, big following for UFC. I was at the first ever UFC event in the kingdom last year. I saw our boy Bobby Knuckles, the Australian,
Ah,
fighting
Robert
out there,
Whitaker, nice.
which was good fun. Obviously, we have the PFL, which is another mixed martial arts
Yeah.
league doing big things. And then I'll tell you about one event before we finish the call. And it's a timely chat between you and I, Jay. The Esports World Cup is back for
Whoa.
its second big year, and it was day one today for year number 2. Now, my parents told me to stay off video games, but maybe if they saw these numbers, they might have said otherwise, Jay. Do you know how much money we're playing for in the Esports World Cup? Are you
Oh,
ready?
oh God, here we go.
70 million US dollars is the prize pool. Okay.
What?
The opening ceremony stars Post Malone, and that's on Thursday night. It's video games inside of arenas, packed arenas. We have a team called the Falcons who are very famous here in Saudi Arabia. These guys are video gamers that are household names. They do meet and greets. You see the queues, a mile long for
What?
selfies. And this is happening in Saudi Arabia. And one of the big reasons, which I find fascinating, don't forget, um, the Crown Prince, His
Mhm.
Highness Mohammed bin Salman, is only 40, and he loves gaming. He's a younger dude that
It
gets this.
does.
He gets that gaming isn't just this thing that your
Right.
parents tell you not to do. He sees the value in gaming and the industry. And of course, it's very hot here. So people like to stay inside during the summer and do things like play video games in the air conditioning. So it's a huge cultural thing, Jay. But the Crown Prince has led this huge push to make Saudi Arabia the global hub for video games and the Esports World Cup. Man, I can't
Wow.
tell you how big it is. So that's just one of many events that are just popping off here in the kingdom, and they're doing it like it's never been done before. There's a lot of investment, there's a lot of passion, and people are showing up, man.
Oh my gosh. So what the games, do we know what games they're playing? I'm trying to look it up real quick.
Yeah, look, you might spend more time than me on
Rainbow
these
Six
games. I know.
Tekken.
I know. No, so, well, Tekken was on last year. Valorant
Okay.
is the first one. I don't know if you play
Okay.
adventure games, but Valorant is a big one. They're playing Call of Duty. COD's a big part
Ah.
of it. There's a bunch of these games. Like, I don't spend a lot of time on video games, but I've looked at the prize pool. I should have, Jay. What are we doing hosting radio and doing these podcast things? We should have been playing our Nintendo 64 or something.
I know, GoldenEye or Super Mario Kart or something like that. I should have paid more attention instead of getting outside. And get outside. That's what my dad would say. Get your head away from those. They're gonna hurt your eyes. And as a guy that wears glasses and a guy that wears contacts, it didn't matter anyway if we played a bunch of video
That's a
games,
good
right?
point, Jay.
At Byron Cooke
Yeah,
on
man.
all social media platforms. This has been so much fun. We will definitely do this again, my friend. Continue success. You're one of my favorite people to follow, along with everything that you got going over there in the kingdom. I swear, people ask me all the time, where would you go? Where would you want to travel? And for the last 10 to 15 years, I've said Japan. I've always wanted to go to Tokyo. I'm telling you, in the last like 6 weeks, it has become Saudi Arabia. I don't know
Oh
what it
man,
is.
that means a lot.
You've
And
given me
honestly,
the inspiration and everything that's
jokes
going
aside,
on.
please, no jokes
Unbelievable.
aside. Come over. I'll lay out a nice sports trip for us, and I mean that. There's so much happening here. You'd have a great time, man, and you're always welcome. And by the way, the Saudi hospitality is world famous. You won't find more friendly people in the world than the Saudis. Honestly, I've been invited for dinner off the street by complete strangers, and I've
I
said
love
yes,
that.
Jay.
Yes. Come on, you're not ashamed, man. You'll do whatever. You always go out and
Oh,
win
for a
that.
free feed, I'm in. And there's just a lot of hospitality here as well. You'd have a great time and you're welcome anytime, as is your community.
You're the best. Byron, thank you so much. Continue success, man, and have a great rest of your week. We'll talk soon.
Shukran, my friend. Shukran. Masalama.
You're the best.